Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Healing Me First podcast. I'm your host, Chef Beee, and I am here with the lovely Opare. Today, we're going to be talking about whole and healthy, a journey of self-love. Welcome, Ama. How are you?
I'm great, Natasha. So good to see you. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of your amazing podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have to tell the listeners, she's in Tanzania, you guys, right? So and I met many years ago when she lived in Atlanta. She left us. I remember when we bid it farewell. We had our final lunch
Tearful.
at this wonderful vegan restaurant here in the city and with another friend. And she left us and she's been so happy ever since. Like even more happy. So we're gonna find out all the tea, what she's up to in Tanzania, and just a little bit more about her. So Ama, I want you to tell the listeners a little bit about you, where you're from, just kind of give them a little background.
Okay. Well, I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Then went to school and raised my family in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area, and moved to Atlanta in 2008. And so I've come a long way. And I've always, from the time I was in high school, felt like there's something not quite right. I felt like the world, the society was set up not for my benefit, and something just felt wrong. And I ended up, and I came out of school feeling stupid. Like I didn't, like I couldn't keep up. I was not a good student. And after my daughter was born, 36 years ago,
Wow.
I suddenly, my background was in education. And so there, Piaget and Montessori, all these things, but I could never really get into reading the books. It was like, I couldn't absorb it. But once my daughter was born, all of those things I still had on my shelf were suddenly fascinating to me. And I realized then that I'm not stupid at all. I'm really pretty smart, but I have to be focused on things that are meaningful to me.
Yes.
Which influenced I started running a daycare in my home. And really my philosophy was freedom and education. And I didn't, it was like involving the kids in life, learning by doing, and getting kids interested in what was going on around them, or me following their interest. And I have found that philosophy of that inside us, we know what's best for ourselves, has really been infused into everything I've done ever since then. I came to Atlanta to join up with my then husband, and we created Opare Integrative Healthcare. And really, I brought that same philosophy, and it meshed with his philosophy of, following our own inner wisdom and our own truth into finding health and wellness.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, that was really been the whole, what's made the difference for me in my life and in the work that I do, is really believing that we are all whole and healthy innately. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. And it's all about, tapping into that wisdom that we have inside of us.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And so I know that you lived in Atlanta for some time, and just curious, why Tanzania? I hear so many wonderful, amazing things about Tanzania. Everyone talks about Africa, of course, West Africa, but then you went far east. You went as far east as you could go. And I'm just curious, what was the draw for you to go to Tanzania?
It has a whole different feel than West Africa does, or even Kenya, which is just north of us. Came in 2014 and went to Ghana, then came to Tanzania, and just to see what felt like the right place. And it's much more peaceful here. People are very friendly. It's a much more chill environment, especially here in Arusha. Dar es Salaam is a whole nother story. But and then also being that I'm vegan, when in Ghana, it was like a struggle to find good vegan food. And it was like cabbage and French fries, you know, seemed like the main thing.
Yep, exactly.
I and I
And
came
rice.
here and rice, yes. And I came here, and where Arusha is like in the foothills of Mount Meru, so we're a higher elevation, so it's not hot, 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 and it's a lot more rain, and so they grow things here year round, and it was an abundance of fruit and vegetables, and I knew that I could find the food that I wanted to eat here. Also, there's in mythology, Mount Meru is like the center of the universe. It's the name of Mount Meru is in Indian mythology, also in Kemetic or Egyptian mythology. And I don't know if it's really here, but I feel here much more connected to the divine than I have ever in my life. I just feel safe here. I feel free here. The people are wonderful. It's gorgeous and green and beautiful.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
It's been an amazing experience. It's not all easy. I mean, there's a lot of struggle as well. It's culture shock. There's a lot of, you have to come here humble and willing to learn and really to release your expectations of what life should be like, and learn about what life is like here and how to negotiate and manage. But overall, it's been an amazing, amazing experience, even though it also was, you know, I also ended up getting divorced here, but even through all of that, you know, being outside was something very healing. And so, yeah, I can't imagine living back in the US again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the second question I wanted to ask you after I asked why you left and went to Tanzania is, what have you found in Tanzania? What do you feel?
What I have found, I have found several things. One is an example of really what I have started calling the roots of wellness. I have seen in how people live here a much, what I think is a saner, healthier lifestyle. It's simpler, not easy by any means, but simpler. Community is so important. Where I live in it was kind of like a African version of a suburb of Arusha, so a village.
Right.
But you know, it's still right in your town. But everybody around me is family. You know, everybody knows each other. The kids are up and down there. You know, so community, you know, close to nature, natural eating for the most part. I have learned so much about myself as well. It's challenged me to step out of my comfort zone and just explore things. So I have gotten stronger being here. And more recently, with the advent of COVID, so many people have come here. When the president, who passed away last year, was very much, you know, he was like, we're not doing vaccines, we're not doing testing, we're not doing any of that stuff, no mask mandates, we're not playing that game. He didn't, you know, he was very Pan-Africanist, and, you know, it was like those masks that you get brought in might have something in it, you know, who knows what's in those vaccines. And so many African Americans came here because of the freedom here. Yeah. They were, you know, getting away from the COVID craziness in America and coming here to where they could just live. And so all that is to say that I've also found a great community here in the diasporan community. Certainly have community among Tanzanians as well, but there's always that cultural difference. So having the folks that are from the US or from the UK are Caribbean that have, more similar life experience than I do has been really, really powerful thing.
Yeah.
So I've made some really good friends.
All right. That sounds so amazing. It sounds like an adventure.
It
And
is.
when I think about the title of this podcast, Whole and Healthy, a journey to self-love, like this is the journey, right? The things that
Yes.
you're discovering about yourself, and getting out of your comfort zone, as you've stated. I want you to talk a little bit more about like what that means for you. When you said journey to self-love, because I know that's very important to you.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about sort of where that comes from. Why an emphasis on self-love in your work and what you do?
Mm. Um, I think, as I said from the early on about my believing that I wasn't smart, that was kind of the first opening of that accepting myself and loving myself. It's a journey that I'm still on. But as I have, I am a plant-based lifestyle coach, and many of the times what I have found in working with people is that, especially Black women, is that we put everybody else above ourselves. And to the point where we wear ourselves out, where we get sick, we're unhappy, and because we're so busy making sure everybody else has what they need. Um, and so I realized that the most important part of being healthy is, returning to yourself and making sure that you are taken care of so that you can then be there for other people. Um, and then more recently, through the breakup of my marriage, trying to put my self back together after that, I once again just really went in deep and did some deep inner child work, recognizing the patterns that I've created in my life, that are based on things I believed about myself or about life and what I could expect out of life. And so going in and healing those things has been liberating. It's really set me free to be more truly who I am, and then be able to stay true to what I want to do to take care of myself, and what I want to do to make a difference in the world. Because I believe that each and every one of us is here for a reason. We have a purpose. Our birth isn't an accident. We're here, to bring something to the world. And so this has really helped me be able to, like I said, be who I really am and make the difference that I believe I'm here to make. And as I've worked with clients and helping them also have those same kind of recognition and begin to really love themselves and honor themselves and take care of their own needs, it's made a profound difference for them as well in being able to stick to what they want to do. How many people do we know that, we know we're supposed to eat healthy, we know we need to exercise, we know all these things, but something always, for many people, they can't stick to it. They sabotage themselves, they fall off the wagon, and I think a lot of times it's because of the messages we got going on in our head that we're not worthy of it, that
Yeah.
our needs don't matter. So to me, it's the core of what we need to do. It's the foundation. It's the foundation for all the other healing pieces that we will put on top.
So I hear you talk a lot about freedom, just even in this conversation, just being in Tanzania is freeing. And then also exploring the fissures of why you think what you think about yourself is freeing, right? And so for me, I'm curious, was there an experience that happened to you in your life where you felt like your self-love was challenged, beyond what you said in regards to, not thinking that you were smart in school? Were there other examples of your self-love being challenged in your life where you're like, oh my gosh, I do need to do this work, that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Um, I have always, as a child, I was always very shy, feeling like I didn't really belong anywhere. And I think I brought a lot of that into my adulthood as well as, and so it's, if I, when I am feeling that way, I feel it in my body because I tend to curl up. And so I have, back aches and issues around posture. But it also has made me not speak up for myself when I needed to speak up for myself many, many times. I think I still struggle with that. Um, and I mean, I'm actually, I think having that early experience with my daughter, when my daughter was born, helped push me forward on that. But it's, it's a continual journey. And, just allowing myself to be in situations that were not healthy. Allowing, there have been several times where I have worked myself to exhaustion, thinking I had to do more and be more, and that I couldn't, that I just always pushing and pushing and pushing, not getting the support I needed from others, not asking for the support I needed from others. And I did at one point go through a period of depression. So, that was also, another turning point in my life of realizing that I do need to, I need to take care of myself and follow my passion, follow what that it's, listening within. What is my heart telling me? What is my intuition telling me? And following that voice. I used to tell my kids when I sent them off to school in the morning, I would say, let your light shine and you can do everything. And so the more I let my light shine, the more, and the more the world opens up to me. And when I don't do that, then my body aches. I'm withdrawing in, and I'm worrying, and so it's like, that's really, it's just letting it out, letting me out.
Mm.
So, I don't know if that answers your question.
I
yes,
like
letting me out.
You out. So, when I'm connecting in my mind, I'm just listening and connecting. And so with that journey of self-love, how in your mind is it connected to being whole and healthy?
Well, as I said, it's the foundation of it. It's what keeps you on your path. It what gives you the inner power, the purpose. It aligns you with your desires, with your purpose in life, and it's really the engine for your health, your being whole and healthy. It's the glue that holds everything together, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you are distracted and sad, and then you're going to go eat the chips, or you're going to say, I don't feel like going to the gym today.
Right.
You're going to say, oh, everybody else is eating this stuff, I need to eat it too. So it's really the glue that holds it all together, the foundation that makes the foundation is what makes a building strong. So it's really the foundation that you can build your whole and healthy lifestyle on. And it can help you tap into what it is. One of my clients, she, in some of the work we did, it was like there was a moment when she just had the light bulb came on as to what was stuck, what was the belief she had about herself in life that kept her stuck. And when she realized what that was, and then it could just kind of release. It wasn't like she had to fix anything. It was just like not the knowledge of it. Oh, okay. And then she was able to, it just like took the chains off of her. I mean, she just has right now she's on fire doing stuff.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's just the awareness. They say the first, I always say this too, because someone told me and it just resonated so much. They say the first step in healing anything is acknowledgement, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
so for her acknowledging the area where she was stuck
Mhm.
could have perhaps been all she needed to become unstuck, right?
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's like,
Yeah, because if you don't understand what the belief is that's underneath why you're behaving the way you do, then you just think that's how it is. You know, for her, it was around respect and feeling disrespected. Well, why is it that she was, that being respected was so important? And so when she tapped into what the experience was from her childhood that her made being respected, feeling respected so important, then she could put it into perspective, yes, and not put that lens on everything else that she was doing.
yes, yes. So I'm curious, you're now in Tanzania. I like bringing Tanzania back. What are some things that you do, to sort of demonstrate self-love for yourself, like to be loving of yourself?
Mhm,
What sorts of things have you felt like you've adopted, things that you might not have done before that
mhm.
you now do, and in the name of self-love?
Um, One is actually telling myself that I love. I am quite frequently. My garden is gorgeous, and I spend a lot of time out there walking in my garden. And quite often, I will just say, "I love you. I love you." And particularly if there's something going on, I use a process of first just acknowledging whatever I'm feeling. If I'm having tension in my back, or if I'm just feeling sad, just acknowledging it, welcoming that feeling, and not trying to change it. Just saying, okay, yes, you're feeling sad. Um, it's okay. Let's just taking care of the sadness. And just by noticing that, just like when you have a baby that's crying, sometimes if you just pick them up, just you holding them, it can help them relax. And so just
Mm.
acknowledging it and holding that in a loving way can help it unfurl. um, and um, um, I also have a process that I do with myself when I'm really struggling with something, feeling bad about something. If I remember, so at first is to connect who is Queen Ama, who am I at my queenliness.
I love
um,
that.
and
That's
what are
great.
the so to do that is I'm thinking about who I am when I am at my best, and what are the and just sort of, okay, this is one part of me, Queen Alma. Who is that person? What is she like? And then there's the wounded me, the small me, little me. And so I have conversations with myself, with little Alma. Well, Queen Alma, asking little Alma what she's feeling, just giving a voice to the feelings that I'm feeling in my wounded state, and what it is I need. And so I'm having this conversation. What do you need? Or, what do you feel? I'm feeling betrayed. What do you need? All, back and forth. And then allowing the wise Queen Alma to talk to wounded Alma from my wise self, and what advice I have for myself. um, and it's really a very powerful process that can help me, I'll just say me, help me um, sort of flip the script on what it is I'm experiencing and feeling, and begin to see it in a healthier way. Because when we're in that wounded state, we can't really see. It can be difficult to see what's really going on, because, as I said before, also that we're looking at things from that wounded state. And so by stepping out over here and finding Queen Alma to say, okay, um, you're not in third grade anymore, first grade anymore. It is safe to be able to express it's okay to be wrong. It's safe.
Yes.
For me, I had a teacher in first grade who would walk around behind us. She would grab you by the back of the neck, pinch your neck, or knock you on your head. And I was terrified in that class. And I think that's where I really learned to just keep my
Mhm.
mouth shut.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so I tell that little Ama frequently that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to speak up. is safe, that we are safe now. We
Yeah.
aren't in that classroom anymore.
You know, it's so
Um,
interesting, Alma. They say that I went through a process a few years ago where you do a lot of work like this, where you're really trying to unpack those deep inner feelings about whatever it is you're feeling that really
yeah.
prevents you from being your best self. And one of the things that I learned during that process is that there are three critical moments in your life that sort of sets the tone for who you are, who your
Mm,
identity is. It happens when you're very, very young, single digit, probably like two or three. It happens
hmm.
again, something else happens when you're in your adolescence, and then something else that sort of cements it. This is who you are and how you approach life when you're in your late teens, early adulthood. So like maybe 19, 20,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And when you start talking to people, it's revealed, right? So an
Hmm.
example would be this teacher
Hmm.
who is going around hitting people on the side of the head. And so no one wants
Yes.
to talk, right? No one wants to say anything, right?
Yep.
And literally that sets the tone for how you move in your life. Because if you see someone
Right.
maybe even fits that profile, you're like, oh my gosh, let me shut
Hmm.
up. It
Right.
immediately that your wiring goes back to that moment, and you're like, I can't talk,
Right.
I can't communicate. Let me protect
Right.
myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
cool.
Thank you. It has been powerful, and it's been beautiful watching as I'm working with people, watching them make the transformations, because it happens really quickly once you tap it into that spot. I mean, not that that's over. There's
Mhm.
still work to be done, but the change happens. The awareness comes quickly.
Yeah. So I'm curious, if you would like to talk a little bit about the work that you do and how you see this journey of self-love pop up in this work that you do, because you did mention that you're a plant-based coach.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so like what kinds of things do you see with people along their journey in really working to transition to healthier eating, plant-based diet, and all of that good
Hmm.
stuff as it relates to the self-love piece?
Um, I think that for most people, particularly there in the US, the messaging around you 24/7 is so powerful, that keeps you locked into the paradigm of buying more, doing more, busy, busy, the hustle culture, eat this fast food, so I think that there, um, um, it's a little different than when I'm working with folks here, but um, I think that so what I do is ultimately the goal. Most people come to me because they've been struggling with trying to get to a healthier plant-based diet and lifestyle. That's their goal. And some of them have been on this path for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they keep falling off, or they fall off for a long time, and then they say, okay, no, really, I've got all this medications I'm taking. I don't want to do this anymore. Um, and so they're really ready to actually make it work. And it, and so that's the foundation of, I mean, the focus that we usually start with. And then very quickly, it becomes clear that there are other things that are, um, of importance to talk about. And I really follow a process where like I said, I start with that we are all whole and healthy, that there's nothing is off the table in our conversations when I'm working with people, that we just kind of dance in the moment, whatever comes up, what is the thing that's presenting itself right now as the issue that is the problem. And that the goal really is transformation and creating a process for being able to build the life that you want, that the client wants, not that I think you should live, but that you want, that fits your life. Um, because I could tell you, I could write out a prescription, okay, eat this, do this. But if A, you don't like those things, B, you can't find them there, I don't know, whatever, your life isn't my life. So what I prescribe fits me and my life. So my goal is to help people create a healthy lifestyle that works for them with their situation that they're in. And I call it, I have I'm Food for the Soul is my website, and I really look at 3 different kinds of food, because I look at it in, yes, of course, there's the food you put in your mouth, but I also look at spirit food, which is what we've been talking about so far this podcast, which is about the mindset stuff, the connecting to our inner guidance and those types of things that give us the power and the resilience. Then mind food, which is the knowledge and the skills that you need so that you can make food that you like to eat, so that you maybe know how to meditate, the skills that you need to create that healthy lifestyle. And then the power food is the techniques and the strategies to deal and live in the unhealthy world that we live in. So how can you go out to lunch with your coworkers or your friends, and they're all eating things that you don't want to eat? What can you do? How can you stick to your convictions when you're surrounded by choices that are no good?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and ultimately
I was going to say, people need strategies how to
Yes.
navigate that. That's like really important.
Definitely.
So that's awesome that you're giving them that. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, ultimately, my goal is to create a badass Wakanda army of women who are healthy and whole, and, a grown-up Black girl magic, because I feel like this world is pretty messed up in many ways. And I think it's going to be us African-American, us Black women, African women, women of color that are going to be what makes the real difference. And so so anything that any of us can do to help us be healthy and strong, and think for ourselves and bring our genius out into the world, I think is so that's my goal. I want to build that army. Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. I love that. All right. So what I want to do is I want to just kind of ask you, as we kind of wrap up, what are like some takeaways that you, as it relates to this topic around being whole and healthy, people exploring themselves and what they need and what they don't need, that self-love piece. What are some takeaways that you can offer the listeners as it relates to this?
I guess I would say that you're beautiful. You are divine. You are just who you are meant to be. There's nothing wrong with you, and we need you. So don't let anybody tell you you aren't enough, you aren't good enough, you aren't smart enough, you aren't beautiful enough, you aren't thin enough or old enough or young enough or fat enough or whatever. You are enough just as you are. That doesn't mean you can't still work on being more, better, but still you are enough just as you are. I even hate to say better. It doesn't mean you can't keep working on yourself. I think we're all growing. That's what it is. It doesn't mean you can't keep growing,
right.
But you are enough just as you are. And taking time to love yourself in whatever way makes you feel loved, whether it's, getting a massage, going for a walk, what are the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, that you would feel most cared for, and make time for yourself so that you can do that. Yeah.
So when you coming back to the US?
I'm hoping to come in July. My grandson turns 2. I won't be in Atlanta, I don't think, though. But yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah. And I actually was just kidding, but it's good to know that you will be on this side of the world very soon.
I have to, my daughters are there, my grandson is there, my dad, who will be turning 89, is there. So,
Yeah, you gotta go.
so
You
yeah,
gotta go visit some folks for sure.
I do. I do.
You gotta do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
before we wrap up, before we leave, tell folks how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in getting any of your services.
Okay. You can find me online at foodforthesoul.me, M-E. And I am on Instagram at foodforthesoul.opare, O-P-A-R-E. And I am on Facebook on Facebook as Food for the Soul, and on YouTube at Food for the Soul Global.
Oof, girl.
But you can find, if you go to the website,
Yeah.
you can get links, you can find everything.
You know what? You just international. You know that, right?
Yes, I am. I'm international.
You just international.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well, we're so happy that you are living your best life and having an awesome, amazing time in Tanzania. Thank you for showing us that we can create something different in a whole other place and that we can
Mm-hmm.
express ourselves and be free in a whole other place. And that the
Yes.
possibility is there for whatever it is that we want to create for ourselves. So
Yes.
thank you for being that.
You're welcome. Can
Yes.
I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because just that made me think of the other thing I would say to people is, yes, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and do something that you wanted to do but been too afraid to do. Do that. That's also a freeing thing. Freedom is that, do that will take you a long way, and open more doors ahead of you.
Yes. Yeah. I think freedom is the key word for today. Beyond
Freedom.
the things that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Because once you're free, everything opens up for you
Yeah.
once you're free.
But I don't think you can be free if you don't love yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I don't think that you can be free. So I do think that that's something that people have to honestly ask themselves is if they want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people think they do, but they
Yeah.
really don't. And
It's a scary thing.
it's a scary thing. Freedom is truly afraid. Afraid. It makes you afraid when you really think about what it can be. But once you are willing to submit to what it
Mm-hmm.
can be,
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely life changing.
Yes, it's liberating,
It's
which is
liberating.
another word for freedom. But
Yeah, it's liberating. Yeah, it's amazing. So, all right, y'all, go out there and get free. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this podcast episode.
My
And
pleasure.
yes, yes, yes. For those of you who are interested in connecting with me, Chef Bee, you guys can go to our website, chefbee.com. That's CHEF, be empowered, energized, and engaged. And you can see all of our offerings, meal prep, our Transform and Thrive coaching and culinary program, the palette reset, all of the things that we do. And you guys can make sure that you stay connected to us as well on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of the places so that you can be connected and you can know what's up and coming for us next. So you guys, thanks again for tuning in and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Bye. Kwaheri.
Hey, Ari.